Heyo, what's good? Yokoso, which means welcome if you're new, and welcome back if you're not. Today I'm just going to take a few minutes to tell you why this dbrand Killswitch is probably one of my favorite Nintendo Switch 2 accessories, but I'm going to go over a whole bunch of them, so stick around. Alright, so this is going to sound really dumb, but one of the reasons why I like the Killswitch is that you have these really awesome looking skins that you can throw on top of the Joy-Cons. The ones I have here are this white X-ray type of color, and as I'm fumbling around trying to install this with one hand, you'll see that it is actually fairly easy to install, and it's got some nice hard protective plastic on the back. And even though this part might not show up that well in the video, dbrand also included this extra little piece of plastic which you can stick onto that flimsy piece of metal that Nintendo decided to use as the kickstand. And going back to fumbling around with installing the Joy-Cons, apologies, I'm doing this voiceover recording after the fact because it was just way too noisy in the environment there. You'll notice that there's some nice aggressive comfort grips added to the ergonomics of the Joy-Con, which even though some other cases might have, they fail this test where you can detach the Joy-Cons. And I know this sounds dumb and obvious, but there are cases out there which don't allow you to detach the Joy-Con, so that's an unfortunate miss there, and I'll show you that later in the video. Now the best part about the Killswitch for me is that front cover, because you can clearly see which cartridges you have with you. You can carry up to 10, and you'll see later also that the other cases don't have that option, or you have to dig around to find the cartridges, which is a little bit annoying. So you can also see here that I'm easily closing it with one hand, and the little clasp that you have there is pretty nice and durable, and that clasp part is made out of metal. And then finally on top of that, you still have access to the charging port, so you don't have to take off that front cover, which is a big deal to me because you want the slim and sleek package that the Switch 2 offers, and you could just throw it into a small bag with a couple of other accessories, which I'm going to show you now. Alright, so here I'm going to show you one of these cables here. I know there's a lot of these out there, but I like this one because this one is extendable and retractable, and it's very convenient for that reason alone, and as you can see, it's quite compact too. And in terms of charging adapters, this one here I have is from a company called Ohigh. This one I like because it's got multiple ports, and you'll see that there's an LED that is indicated to show you that there's power, and when you plug in a device, it also has the LED change colors, which lets you know that it is actually charging. So I know there's a lot of these out there, but this one I find is particularly useful for that reason. And then when it comes to power banks, I know there's a lot out there. I like to use this small one here. It's an 80 watt hour battery, even though it's so tiny. There's a whole video I have on the best power banks for your handhelds. You can go and check that out already on the channel, but let me know if you'd like a follow-up video particular to the Switch 2. And then on the topic of power banks, I have to mention this Pro Mobile Dock by Viture. This one here is not the biggest, it's something like 20 watt hours, but it's got a special power, which is that it can work with the Switch 2 to display the video out to these Viture XR glasses. If you've not seen these before, I have a bunch of videos on these, and without going into too much detail, you can imagine yourself as having a big projector in front of your face, like about 200 inches or so. And with that Pro Mobile Dock and 2 pairs of glasses, you'll be able to play 2 players on the Switch, basically on the go. Now, Viture does have a new pair of glasses, which I can't really talk about right now, but you can bet that I'm going to use them with my Switch 2. And so you can see with this relatively small package that you could throw into a sling that you have this big theater experience with the Switch 2. And now that I've shown you the best case in my opinion, it's time to show you the other ones, which they do have some benefits too, but I think the Killswitch is still the best all-around one. These two cases, or ones very similar to them, you'll find all over Amazon. They have this kind of fabric finish on the outside, and they have zippers. The designs will be slightly different, but then they have this kind of flap on the inside which carries your cartridges, and to be fair to them, they have a very soft interior, and this one here that I'm showing has 2 little straps to hold in the Switch 2. But you'll notice that even though they have this function, there are some limitations, as I mentioned earlier. And this one here has that little strap that you can help to pull up the device, and that's very useful. But the other one has the 2 straps to hold it in, and it is more secure there, but since it doesn't have that extra little tab that you can pull on, you have to fish your Switch 2 out of that kind of sleeve, and that's kind of annoying, or at least a little bit more troubling if you don't want to scratch up your device. Of course, cases like these do have some advantages even over the Killswitch, and that is that there's this pocketed sleeve up at the top there. This one here has a zippered one, so it's very easy to throw in that Ohigh charger as well as the Minlu extending cable. In this way, you're not worried about it sliding out and falling out when you open up the case. Whereas the Killswitch, you need to find a different spot to put them. This case that I have on the left here, you see that the pocket there is just a sleeve, and so those things will fall out very easily. So even though there is this pocket here, the primary disadvantage that I find to these type of cases here is that you have to basically do some clown activity, which is dig around to find exactly which cartridges you brought with you, unless you've also labeled them conveniently. You'll see that this case that I have on the right here, you can see some of the cover art of the cartridge that you have carried with you, but you'll have to memorize essentially which carts are in which order. And the same goes for the left one, but even worse because the entire face of the cartridge is covered and only the Nintendo label shows. So then you have to literally dig through every single one of those cartridges, basically wasting your time and leading to frustration. And honestly, for that reason alone, that's why I like the Killswitch cover so much. Now, I understand some people are not going to buy the whole kit. They're actually just going to buy the Killswitch itself, but I highly recommend that front cover if you're going to go the way of the Killswitch. And then if you still prefer this kind of fabric carrying case, one thing to note here is that some of these will have the pass-through charging capability there, so pay attention to that, others won't. And now I'm going to talk about a couple of other accessories, including the hard shell cover that you could put into that soft cover bag. So this first hard shell cover that I've seen a bunch of times on Amazon is called Hollow Crystal. Basically, it's this transparent plastic. It's fairly thin, but it will likely protect your Switch 2 from any kind of scratches. It comes in 5 pieces basically. There's one piece for the main body or the tablet, and then there's one piece for the back of each Joy-Con, and then one piece for the front of each Joy-Con. It's a little finicky to get on, but once it is on, it's fairly secure and it won't come off as easily as the next kind of cover that I'll show. Oh, and in case you haven't had experience with these types of cases for your phones, they probably will yellow over time. Now, you can pay big bucks for like name branded clear ones. I can't remember any off the top of my head, but they claim that they won't yellow over time. I mean, time will tell, right? So this next one here is clearly labeled for Switch 2 in case you try to put it on your Switch 1, I guess. This is a little bit more soft touch. I think it's more akin to like a TPU or a silicone sleeve. They go on fairly easily, but there is a problem with them going on easily, and that is that they also come off easily. The nice thing about it is if you want to kind of recolor your Joy-Cons without putting on a skin, particularly if you're crappy with stickers like I am, this is a good alternative to that. That, and you know, you still have access to the kickstand, which some of the cases don't allow you to have. And another added bonus of this clearly luxurious brand name cover is that it has this hard cover, basically turning it into a pseudo Killswitch or a lightweight version. So your screen is protected at the same time as the rest of the body, and you know, it's a thin and lightweight solution to just throw into your bag, or maybe if you got like a larger purse or something even. Wait, you guys don't have purses? Okay, just me then. So the next case here, I will say I have to apologize to the company because I do like their products generally. Most of my cables actually are from JSaux or JSaux, but this type of sleeve is just not for me. And I'll explain why maybe it's not for you as well. It's a nice soft touch cover, even softer than the last one that I showed off, and it adds some ergonomics to the Joy-Cons as well. But there are two primary issues with this. One, there is no cover for screen protection, even though they do include a tempered glass screen protector inside of this package. It's difficult to put on and take off, and the problem with that is that because you don't have access to the Joy-Cons, that means anytime you want to dock your Switch 2 and then you want to remove the Joy-Cons to play, you have to take off the whole thing, and that's just not functional in my opinion. So yeah, bad design. But what isn't as bad of a design is also from JSaux. There's these racing wheel attachments that you can use for your Joy-Cons. I do like these. They're generally quite comfortable. Now, it's not going to be the same as like an actual Pro controller or anything like that, and it's smaller than a real racing wheel, but you do get the added real shoulder buttons to press rather than the little baby magnets, and they're easy to take off and put on. And the added also bonus here is they come in a pack of 2, so you don't have to buy 2 separate ones. And the very last type of accessory I have for today is this kind of stackable controller grip attachment, which also serves to charge the Joy-Cons. This one comes from a company called Doby. I think it used to be called Nexigo. Anyway, these things stack on top of each other and let you charge up to 4 Joy-Cons at a single time. And then they also double as a sort of controller grip, as you can see. So there is a little LED to let you know that it's charging. There's just one minor gripe about these grips that I have, and that is that the charging connector is at the top. It would have been nice if the port was actually at the bottom instead. Little nitpick, I know. But yeah, that's all I got for today. Thanks to dbrand for gifting me that Killswitch. To be clear, they're not sponsoring this video or anything like that. Technically, that's you guys if you want to support the channel by checking out any of the affiliate links to these products down below. As always, thanks for clicking on the video, and remember, 君は美しいなので何も邪魔させないで. Yeah, it's better if it comes from her.
You are a beautiful person, so don't let anything hold you back.